Today, I will be talking about The Hunger Games. Boo!
Boo!
Boo! Basic. Yeah, I expected that. It's just one of those books. Don't get me wrong, this book is great, but it's not one that you show off to everyone and be like, "Hey guys, look how smart I am!" Book's a banger though. Anyways, this is the book that's going to be held up on high today. The Hunger Games is the first book in a trilogy written by Suzanne Collins. It's been out for a while now, being released in 2008, and its widespread popularity has landed them in all the goodwills worldwide. Without getting too in-depth here, its basis is of a dystopian society that enjoys watching live spectacles of gladiatorial fights. Fun. The story follows the protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, as she tries to survive everyday life. You see, she lives in a society that is split up into 12 districts, and a capital, all in the country of Panem. Each district specializes in something different, with the highest number being the most grueling tasks. Katniss here lives in District 12, which focuses on coal mining and is the poorest of all the districts. As a result, she has to hunt illegally with her bow and arrow. This comes in handy later on. To provide for her youngest sister, Prim. There's also an event that happens each year in which every district holds a lottery for a male and female tribute to participate in the games. The lottery takes place and her sister gets chosen. Katniss immediately volunteers to take her place, and this basically sets up the stage for the rest of the book. And the awkward split commences. Throughout this video, I want to focus on some categories to explain this book. First is going to be the continuation of the book summary. Why did I finish it? I don't know. I thought doing a full summary without explaining what I was going to do would take too long. Second, I want to talk about some of the major characters that play into the whole story, even some of the minor ones that barely did anything themselves, but had an impact on the whole storyline. Third is talking about the literary devices in this book. We're talking themes, motives, symbolism, the whole SparkNote shabam. Alright, now back to the summary. The male tribute is chosen, and it's this boy called Peter Millark. Katniss semi-knows him from the time he gave her some bread, so they take the train and head over to the capital and prepare to become short-lived celebrities. Peeta reveals in an interview that he has a crush on Katniss, and that sparks up a lot of interest in the group. Finally, the games begin, and Katniss splits away from Peeta and runs away from everyone else. Some game events happen, and Katniss's leg is hurt by some fire rocks. She befriends a girl named Rue, and together, they kill 2 people with bees. The power of friendship. One of those people she kills had a bow, so Katniss takes it as her weapon of choice. Together, they decide to destroy the enemy's food source. It ends up working, but Rue is caught up in a mess and dies. Katniss covers her body in flowers and calls it a day. After a while, Katniss ends up fighting Peeta, but he's injured from a fight with the #1 prospect, Cato. She has to head over to Cornucopia, which is the original starting spot, where there's something all the tributes need in order to survive. That could be food, medicine, some clothes. So Peeta's saved with the medicine she brings back. While Katniss is hunting, Peeta collects some berries to eat, which Katniss realizes are poisonous. She decides to keep some of them on her in case she can trick someone into eating them. Cato is then seen running to them, and they get ready to fight, but he goes right past them, and they turn to see mutated wolves sent by the capital to turn up the heat. Now all 3 of them are on top of the cornucopia, and Cato grabs Peeta and starts to choke him. Katniss shoots his hand, and Peeta flings him off to the dogs. Now this is probably the most disturbing thing, because they just kind of let him get eaten by the dogs. And it gets worse! He doesn't die for hours! So Katniss, after hours of hearing his pain, decides to end him with her bow. And then there were 2. Yeah, so they both survive, because they tried to kill themselves with poison berries. So yeah, that's the summary. Now we'll be talking about the characters in the book. So here we got Katniss Everdeen, someone who has taken the role as a provider of the family. She's willing to break the laws, pointing to her rebellious spirit. Ironically, her life in poverty served to prepare her for the games and win, as to Cato, who lived a pretty lavish life and trained for the games. An interesting thing about her is that her character never changes throughout the book. When she enters stardom, instead of embracing it, she's just looking to go back to her old life. Even the arena doesn't make her into a heartless monster. She remains true to who she is. Now we got Nice Boy, aka Loverboy, could very much well be a choir boy, Peter Millark. That's literally all he is. He's just a nice dude that has turned into a love interest. I mean, he's got more meaning to him than just that, like how he's supposed to be a light in the darkness for Katniss, which refers to his artistic talent in the dusk-filled District 12. But overall, he ain't all that. Next! Here we got Hamish Abernathy. Once a winner, now a loser. A drunk that won the games for once for District 12. He serves as a mentor for the two younglings, even though most of the time he's, drunk. Though he does help Katniss a lot during the games by sending her messages. He's pretty manipulative, and plays Peeta on his feelings for Katniss in order to increase their odds of winning. Talk about a wingman. Since he already went through the games once, he has experience on how to win over people. I like this dude. Last, we got Prim Everdeen, Katniss' sister. She's basically Katniss' heart. Without Prim, Katniss would have lost herself a long time ago. Literary devices. What is this? A phone book? No, but the themes of this book are the inequality of the poor and rich, entertainment through suffering, and the importance of appearances. The inequality of the poor and rich. This is shown in the regional situations that each district is present in. Katniss is the lowest district, and that can be seen in the food. Even Peeta, though he owns a bakery, cannot afford to eat what they make and can only eat the stale leftover bread. While in contrast to the higher districts and capital, who have an abundance of food, they even consider the games an honor to participate in, and train for them, while the lower districts see them as a death sentence, but still increase their chances to join it just for some extra food. The games are also seen as a form of entertainment, which implies the theme of suffering as entertainment. It is implied how the audience who watches the games enjoys watching the participants fight, but not dying so quickly. This sense of entertainment from suffering doesn't just come from physical pain though. For example, the romance of Peeta and Katniss, which people are crazy over, though the reason is not only because of two people liking each other, but of the thought that their relationship is bound to be the death of them, hence the name Star-Crossed Lovers. Also, another theme is the importance of appearances. Throughout the book, Katniss has to control the way everybody sees her. This includes resisting crying in front of the cameras to avoid appearing weak and an easy target. Also, for the purpose of attracting sponsors to help in her survival strategy. The most important one is her romance with Peeta, because even though she does develop feelings, most of it is acting on her part. This act influences the decision to keep them alive as a final two. All of this shows that in fact reality might not necessarily be reality, and the appearances are just as consequential as the truth. Main motifs! The girl on fire! Fireball! 3 of 5, Mr. Worldwide! Fire. Yeah, it's pretty hot, I guess. But more importantly, it is used to represent Katniss throughout the story. The fire comes alive when it becomes a building block in all her outfits. The fire refers to her spirit and temperament, a recurring theme that pops up throughout the book. Another one is hunting. Katniss is a hunter, and so a lot of her early stories before the games revolve around hunting. She has stories about how her dad taught her to hunt, how she met Gale through hunting, and how she got the goat for Prim. Hunting for her before the games is a positive and keeps her alive before the games. But when the games come, hunting appears in a different light. Peeta refers to the career tributes as hunting other players in the arena. The act of killing an animal and a human is an emotionally traumatizing difference for her. Even though the act of hunting remains essentially the same in the arena, hunting shifts from a positive to a negative tone. The Mockingjay symbolizes defiance in the novel. In the book, the Mockingjay is a failed experiment from the capital that was meant to spy on the districts. Its type of defiance changed when Katniss met Rue, though. They use the Mockingjay to communicate with each other. When Rue dies, she covers her in flowers to honor her, but also as a way to defy the capital. When she later sees Mockingjays, They remind her of Rue, and build up hatred towards the capital and a need for revenge. This builds up on the symbolism of the Mockingjay, making it not only represent rebellion against the capital, but also Katniss's personal vendetta against them. Overall, this book kept my 12-year-old self interested. I haven't really read a book in a while, so shout out to Spark Nose! Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what it's all about! That's what we're talking about!